looks like some of you are done, or maybe you're all done. Let's see how we did with this. Let's see, I've got this up here. So the idea that hopefully you noticed that what I was trying to illustrate with this is that you have this country, the United States of Liberal Arts, and I guess I misspelled literata here, but you have these four states: Humanities, Scienceana, North Literata, and South Literata, and you have the populations there. And over here, you'll notice that the populations for these two, Scienceana and North Literata, have increased. And so when we did the apportionments, hopefully, well, what did you find between the two after you've increased when you compare the two? Like, what's happened? Like, did anything unexpected happen, I guess?
In the first one, you added an extra to the south. And then once you added population, you added an extra to the science one.
The Scienceana. So it's like, so the South Literata, they ended up losing a seat to here after the populations increased. So it kind of feels like if your population is increasing, it feels like you should not lose seats. If especially when let's see, these two here. Let me get the. Let's see if I got it right. Here's. Oh, why is it not doing it? Click. There we go. There we go. Okay. So up here, you have 11,266. Is that what you guys got? And then 11,365. So you'll notice that the only states that have changed, humanity didn't change at all. You've increased the population. The increase came from Scienceana and South Literata. So those two increased population. And so just before doing this, I should have had you made a prediction. Like, what would you predict would happen when you go from here to here? And I think that we'd all say, well, for sure, you wouldn't have one of the states that increased population. They shouldn't lose any seats, should they? If anything, it's the states that stayed level. They should lose seats, and maybe these would increase a little bit. So that it doesn't make sense for them to lose seats. Not only that, take a look at how many, what the population increases from 200,000 to 211,050. It's pretty specific, isn't it? I had to work to get this to work like this. Hey, welcome. Oh yeah, the sun is waking you up. Here, I'll give you one of these so you can follow along. So it was a little bit of a chore to manipulate this, to get it to do this. But we're mathematicians. That's what we do. We try to figure out like what could go wrong. And so there's an 11,050 is the increase to South Literata. Scienceana has increased as well, but has increased by less. Scienceana only increased by 8,950. So South Literata actually increased by, what is that, 3,000 more than 2,000. A little bit more than 2,000 more than Scienceana. So they've increased by more, and yet they ended up losing a seat. So, like I said, I had to manipulate things a little bit for this to happen, but this is the sort of thing that has happened in the past when we've redone apportionments because of population increases. And so you see this sort of thing happening. I should have, one of the projects, maybe I could think about this for the break, is to come up with something for you to do that's like this, to come up with your own example. It's probably too late now. If I ever do this again, I'll make the students come up with their own example of this rather than me coming up with the example, because it's kind of interesting to do that. Pardon me. Sorry. I didn't bring my tea today. Okay, so then the second, so that was numbers 1 and 2. So you can copy along with Audrey if you'd like. And then numbers 3, so 3 was, does this seem unfair? I guess I've kind of short-circuited that discussion, haven't I? I kind of feel like it's unfair for a state that has increased to lose people, especially when there are some states that didn't increase at all, namely Humanity and North Literata. Okay, let's move on to number 4. Number 4, it turns out that that a new state is joining our union, our our country, and that new state is Omatho. So Omatho's joining our country, and so let's go and let's just scrap this one down here and go with this. Notice that the standard divisor you used here was 36,600. So let's bring Omatho into the fold here. Omatho has 120,000 people. 120,000 people, which means that they probably should have, if this is the divisor, 120,000 divided by 36,600, you would think that they should deserve 3 seats, right? I mean, you can do the math. 120,000 divided by 36,600 is a little bit more than 3.2 or whatever. So let's give Omatho 3 seats. This sort of thing happened all the time in the United States because we had new states showing up. And basically, what we do is when a new state shows up, the last time this happened was back in the 1950s when both Hawaii and Alaska became states. And when that happened, we gave each of them 1 seat. And that's when the House of Representatives was 437. And then at the next apportionment, we brought it back down to 435. So this sort of thing happened all the time, because we started out with 13. Well, the first apportionment was for 17 or so states, but and so it's increased from 17 to 50. So so we're starting out with this, and we say, okay, let's bring in Omatho, give them 3, because based on this divisor, they should get 3. But then someone, and this actually happened back in the 1900s, 1907, in fact, someone decides, I'm curious what would happen if we did a new apportionment based on 28 seats. So you see, we've got 25 seats now. We bring on in Omatho. Omatho gets 3 seats, which is what they deserve. What would happen if we just redid the apportionment? Well, let's find out. You did this on your, so a new state joined our country. Here it is, Omatho. So what happened? Did anything happen that was surprising when we redid the apportionment? Like if we didn't do any math, all would be well, wouldn't it? We could just give Omatho 3, we go back, and we leave everything else the way it is. Humanity has 10, St. has 2, North Laterata 6, and South Laterata 5. Let's just leave it all like that. Give Omatho 3. In fact, that's what usually would happen whenever when we had a new state join. But let's just see what happens if we redo the apportionment using this. So we have a new divisor, of course. You did this, you got your divisor, I assume. And did you notice anything? Did anything weird happen? I hope something weird happened. So can anyone give voice to what happened when you did that was weird? Maybe you didn't notice. So you're comparing the first one with the last one. Yeah, what did you see, Zane?
Pretty much the same thing that happened from 1 to 2.
Okay, it's almost exactly, yeah, so it's almost the same thing that you wouldn't expect. So going back here, let's see here. So right here, ignore the bottom here. This top one. You wouldn't expect that if we just added a new state and gave them what they deserve 3. You wouldn't expect anything to change up here because you're not changing any of those numbers. You're just adding a new state. But you have the exact same thing happen, didn't you? That yeah, there was a seat that switched from one to the other. Let me see which. I've got it here because I did it. Here it is. Now there it is. Yeah. So wait a minute. Oh, here's the final apportionment. Like, where is the final apportionment? Yeah. So instead of that's it. So instead of South Laterata getting the extra seat, it ended up being Scienceana. So there's no arguing that Omatho deserves 3 seats. I mean, they based on the divisor. But I guess what's happened mathematically is when you added them, because they don't have an even number of seats. If this was exactly 3, for example, then this wouldn't have happened. But because it doesn't come out evenly, the new divisor actually changes what happens up here, and it shifts some things. So this sort of thing happened. Like I said, it happened back in history. So you have the Alabama paradox resurfaces in 1901. I mentioned that. I showed you the congressional record where I have incredible amount of respect now for the history people who actually studied that stuff. But New States Paradox is discovered in 1907. This is Oklahoma joined and when Oklahoma joined the Union, uh, Oklahoma got 5 seats. It's sort of like Omatho. They just figured, based on the previous apportionment, the previous divisor, Oklahoma should get 4 seats or 5 seats. That was all well and good, but someone in the Congressional Budget Office decided to redo the apportionment just for fun and discovered this little thing that when the House size went up to from 386 to 391 back in 1907, Maine actually gained a seat and New York lost a seat. So the same thing that you saw in the contrived example actually happened in real life. So this actually is related to the Alabama paradox. And what I mean by that is if a particular apportionment method exhibits what we are calling the Alabama paradox, then it's possible for this to happen as well. So it's kind of linked to the Alabama paradox. Same with the population paradox. Population paradox is linked to the Alabama paradox. That if you have a apportionment method that exhibits the Alabama paradox, then you can come up with a contrived example that would show you the population paradox. So let's see. Why is this all blinking? Apparently there it is. Okay, we don't. Yeah, I guess we do care. Okay, so just quick history, and then we'll move on to what's new. 1882, we used Hamilton's method. 1902, Webster's method, but they picked this, in order to make Hamilton and Webster match. Back in 1902, we had this New States paradox in 1907, and that's when Hamilton was abandoned. Webster's method was used from 1910 to 1940. In 1941, the Congress actually made a law that said from now on, we're not going to vote on apportionment methods every 10 years. I guess it became quite fractious. Well, you saw people talking about mathematics as if it was from the devil in the congressional record. So in 1941, Congress actually enacted a law that said we're going to have 435 seats done, and we're going to use what's called the Hill-Huntington method. What's the Hill-Huntington method? Well, that's your job. I misspoke earlier saying that we were done with this. I forgot. We still have Hill-Huntington to do. So that's your job for the break. We'll talk about that in a minute, is to figure out what in the world did Hill-Huntington do and why are they so much better and why did Congress decide on using this back in 1941. One thing to note is Hill and Huntington were not Congress, they weren't politicians. So this is the first method that was invented by someone who isn't a politician. So right off the bat, you might think, oh, for sure, that's got to be trusted more than the politicians. So it's currently fixed. I put that in quotes only because it's not really, because Congress could always go back and change their mind. So 2010, we have this census. I haven't updated this for 2020, but we could look this up. So in 2010, we had this shifting around that Texas gained 4 seats, Florida gained 2 seats, a bunch of states gained 1 seat, a bunch of states lost 1 seat, but we actually lost 2 seats back in 2010. We lost another seat in 2020 because our population is not growing, and there are other populations, other states that are growing. Certainly faster, but yeah, Ohio is pretty stagnant right now. But you can get, if you're curious, you can go to the census.gov website. This is the link to the 2010 apportionment, but there's a new link for the 2020 apportionment. I haven't updated this particular thing for. Yeah, this is the 2010 census, I guess. I should get the 2020 up here. Anyway, so what's your job? Well, there's several things we need to talk about today, but your job for the next week, maybe I'll put it up on the screen here, is to deal with the Hill-Huntington. So there's 2 more methods to deal with. There's Hill-Huntington and something called the quota method. So where is it? Where's Hill? There it is. Joseph Hill's method is activity 15. And then activity 17 is this so-called quota method. Let me write this down. We're skipping activity 16. You certainly can look at it if you want to. It's not, I mean, it's more of a thinking about like, who do we trust more, politicians or mathematicians? That's basically the gist of it. And you know the correct answer, don't you? Is that we trust the mathematicians. Why isn't this showing up? Just a sec. Did I lose my iPad? No, I didn't. Okay, so let me jot this down. So upcoming events, and I have more on the PowerPoint, but I want to get this out of my system. First of all, is for next week. So we're not going to meet on Tuesday, of course. So Thursday, this is Thursday, whatever it is. What is today? Today's the 17th, so it must be the 24th. Okay, so Thursday, October 24th is Hill Huntington. This is activity. And let me be more specific, just a second, activity. That way we are more focused so that you know exactly what to do. So you're going to have to sort out what Hill Huntington is a little bit different, and it's going to require a little bit more thinking on your part, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you'll take to it really quickly. But let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to pick the ones here. Yeah, let's just do 1 through 7. You don't have to do, you don't have to do the rest. Yeah, the rest of that is just extra. Yeah, so 1 through 7. So we'll do 1 through 7. By the way, I noticed, well, we'll talk about this in a minute, but I noticed that I've been really bad about maintaining our Moodle site. It's really fallen into disrepair because I had to use it today. I'll show you. So maybe over the break, I'll try to fix things. Okay, and then the quota method is so that's activity 17. You can look over 16, but there's just not a lot for you to do, is what I'm saying. So maybe, you could read, it's kind of cool, 16. So, I mean, if you're curious why I call it the Hill Huntington method, you can figure that out from activity 16. Here, I'll just put that down. Activity 16, you can read it. Yeah, read that. It's only 2 pages. These are all super short, and most of it is activities. So, yeah, and then skip ahead to activity 17, and activity 17 is something called the quota method, and there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just double check. 5. I think 1 through 8. Yeah, I think 1 through 8 is good. So 1 through 8. And these are all pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. Okay, so there's that for next week. There's lots of time, but I know you don't want to do this at home, so you probably won't bring this home with you. Okay, so onward. What other stuff do we have to deal with? We have to deal with this stuff. Do I have it on here? No, I don't. I have it on this other PowerPoint. Just a sec. Here it is. Just a sec here. That's the problem with having 2 different PowerPoints. I'm switching back and forth. There it is. So we've dealt with the apportionment paradoxes, and we've actually also dealt with the homework, which was actually my last slide. The 2 other things that we have to deal with are these, the major field test. So the major field test, I have, let me see if I've gotten a response to this. Hold on a sec. Good. I will write this here. So the MFT, major field test, this is something that is actually kind of going away in the sense that it will, in future, will not be a requirement for students to take this to graduate. So it's been a requirement as long as I've worked here, but for whatever reason, we're dropping it as a requirement. I guess we don't care if students learn anything. Yeah, the MFT, this is not a reflection on you. It is a reflection on me and my colleagues. So let me go back to this. So the MFT major field test, it's I think I've talked to you before about it. It's kind of a general test. It is similar in difficulty to that GRE practice test that I gave you. So when you go into it, you should expect to not know how to do some of the problems. I'm just telling you straight up that that's the way it's going to be. Generally, I have students who will score anywhere between the 5th percentile, and you know what the 5th percentile means, don't you? I don't think I've had anyone below 5th percentile, up to the 80th percentile. I've had students score in the 80th percentile. I don't think I've had anyone ever score higher than that on this because this is a national test, nationally normed test. So we're comparing you to students at Kenyon, to students at Harvard, to students at Cedarville, just everywhere. Malone. So you've got a large group of people that you're comparing yourself to. Not only that, we don't even have all the courses here that are covered by the MFT. So when you get to something like real analysis on the MFT, do your best. You might be able to figure it out just based on its real analysis is just advanced calculus, really. So you might be able to figure it out, but if you can't, don't worry, don't panic. It's going to be okay because, like I said, this is a reflection of me, my colleagues, not a reflection of you. I will give you your score report. I'll let you know how you did, but I'm not recording it in the gradebook. All I'm recording in the gradebook is, did you do it? Did you tell me about it? Check. So you're going to tell me about this as well. So after you take the MFT, you're going to write a one-page just description of, what was it like? I'll give you more details. We'll look at it on the on Moodle, but it's just basically tell me about the test. Was there anything surprising? Like, did it seem like it was really heavily a lot of symbols that you didn't understand? You can't take notes while you're taking the test, but you can certainly right after you take the test, you can jot down some notes and just tell me about it. It's basically a reflection paper. Tell me what you felt when you're taking the test, how you feel about it, and so on. And I'll give you your score report and tell you, if you got in the 50th percentile, I'll be super thrilled. If you're in the 30th percentile, it's okay. That's where I expect most people will end up. That's where most of the students between 30 and 40. So just to give you, for us, I'm just saying this is where we end up. So when are you doing this? You're doing it November 4th through the 8th. And let's see, just to get the details, I emailed this morning, and I have the email right here. Anytime between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. in the test center. So you need to email. Let me get this. What is the email address here? Because all I see is just a sec here. Open. How do I see the email address? Oh, mvnu.testcenter. That's it. Okay, so at some point, you don't have to do it now, but mvnu.testcenter, test center at mvnu.edu. That's the email address, or you can just go up there and make an appointment. So you'll make an appointment sometime for that week. Now, here's the bonus, is because we're doing that week, we get to miss 2 days of class. The 2 days of class that we'll be missing will actually be, so no class, you can even put this down, no class on the following 2 days, October 31st. That way you can get prepared for your costume or whatever, and November the 5th. So those 2 days we will not have class. So that makes up for the fact that you're going to go take this test for me, and it's going to take a couple of hours. And then we will meet on the 7th, and I'm guessing that most of you will probably have done the test by the 7th, and if you haven't, then you'll get to hear everyone else complain about how difficult it was. So that would be, so just so you know. So that week, major field test, and like I said, it's sort of similar to the GRE in difficulty level, so don't panic, but try to do well. Don't blow it off, because if you blow it off, then it makes me and Dr. Brad and Dr. Hewlett feel bad. So we don't want that to happen, right? I mean, I don't know, you might not care about me, but you should care about Dr. Hewlett and Dr. Brad. Okay, so there's that, MFT. Oh yeah? What's that? Oh, it's like between, I think students have told me it's between an hour and 2 hours that it takes them. So yeah, if you set aside 2 hours, I think there is a time limit of 2 hours. So when you sign up for it, you'll probably sign up for a 2-hour block of time. And so if you don't know what block of time to use, I guess if you don't have a class on Tuesday, November 3rd, after this, then that would be a good day to do it in the morning, like 8 to 10. So That's why I cancel classes, because I want to make sure that you do have time. If you can't do it that week, but you can do it like the week before, that would be fine, since I'm cancel class that week too. So, um, yeah, so it's a couple of hours. Yeah, any other questions before I go on? All right, great. Now, the last thing we have to deal with is on the syllabus, there's all sorts of things that we haven't covered yet. And one of those things is the career paper, career um, stuff. So to explain that, let me show you our very pitiful Moodle page that, like I said, I looked at it this morning and I was actually kind of embarrassed that I hadn't been maintaining it. I guess because I have, uh, oh no, oh, that's right. You have to leave. You told me, she told me she's not offended. Don't worry. Uh, hope it goes well. Whatever it is, I forget, but I'm sure it will be fine. That's right. She's got to do her teaching with assemblies. They changed the schedule today for her. It's all right. We're almost done anyway. She's not missing too much. She'll watch the video and enjoy. Okay, so on our webpage, we've got uh, so here we are down at the bottom. Yeah, like I said, I got to maintain this a little bit better. On the syllabus, you might have seen this career paper and presentation. So I finally have here career paper, career presentation. Ooh, I should put one more thing. I turned off the, let me turn this here. Oh, did you see that little cougar? Okay, here, we'll do it again. Let's see. Where is it? Career. Let me stick a, oh, it didn't do it this time. It might next time. So just a minute, let me put, oh, there, did you see the cougar? Okay, so let me put this here, math jobs. Okay, so we use math.org. This is a great source. It's not the only source you're going to use for this project, but it is oh, I should probably use http:// Let's see if that works. So we use math.org. Let me slap this up there, save and return to course. See the little cougar? It should. Do you remember yesterday it was an owl? Mm-hmm. I complained. I said, why is it an owl? It should be a cougar. Apparently someone, I didn't complain to everyone. I just complained to Dr. Hewlett because she's in charge of Moodle. So, well, not really. I make fun of her and say that she is, but she really isn't. But she is part of the committee that does this. So I just mentioned to her, why is it an owl? It should be a cougar. It just magically turned into a cougar today. So anyway, here's weuseMath.org. We Use Math is a website that lists careers using math. And it was put together by Brigham Young University. So you have all these careers that you can choose from to research. So this is a good place to start because I have a rule that you cannot choose to research the career that you're going into. So that means most of you, well, some of you teacher, some of you other things that you know. So if you know you're going into a career, but for sure the pre-service teachers don't do, in fact, no one do teaching. Teaching is boring as a career, to be honest. For this project, it's much more interesting to go and look at geographer. How does geographer use math? Wait, there's got to be geologist. That's cool. I like let's see, let me find one that I want to do. Mathematical biophysicist. But anyway, each one of these use math. Oh, mathematician. Don't do that one either. But they use math on one level or another. Let's see, pick one that I don't know about too much. What is that? Psychometrician. I'm going to pick that one for now. You might pick it. So here you get at least some basic information about a psychometrician. What is a psychometrician? You can't read this. It's a person who practices the science of measurement or psychometrics. The term psychometricians refers to measurement of an individual's psychological attributes. Interesting. Okay, blah, blah, blah. They write exams. Okay, interesting. So then they give you education. You might say, how am I even qualified? Minimum requirements for the position are a master's degree in educational measurement, industrial organizational psychology, mathematics, or related area. I suppose you probably could get in on the ground floor, though, with a bachelor's degree, but I'm encouraged that it says a degree in mathematics. But if you're, if you're really interested in this, you might want to go find a master's. By the way, if you go get a master's degree in math, don't pay money for it. You should get it for free because uh, that's the way it works. Anyway, you can talk to me later if you're interested in getting a master's or a PhD in math. Don't pay for it. You're not going to have to pay anything. Anyway, this is a good place to start. This gives you some information. In addition to this, you can research. So this is quite a bit of information here. You can also research the Bureau of Labor Statistics and some other places. But what you're going to want to do, let's see, go back. Did I do this? Yeah, here it is, math jobs. So there's math jobs. So you're going to want to find a career that you're interested in researching. And then once you've picked it, go to the career selection survey here with Casey Cougar. And you're going to put your name in here. Oh, fall 2020. I didn't update. I'll update. It doesn't really matter. It's fall 2024 now. So you're going to put your answer here. Why is it not letting me? Here it is. So who am I? Is that it? Name. Here am I. There I am. Okay. And then what is the career? Psychometrician. I'm not really picking this. I just want to show you what you're going to do. So anyway, so do that and then submit. That way you can claim it. Name it and claim it. And the reason why you're going to name it and claim it is because I have a rule. Wait, why did it not submit? Submit. There, it's submitted. So when it submits, it says your response has been recorded. I'll update this. But what I'll do is periodically during the next week, today, tomorrow especially, probably not until next Tuesday, I will go on here and I will figure out who, it'll tell me who chose first. So if everyone chooses psychometrician, I will email everyone except for the first person and say, sorry, psychometrician's already been taken. I'll try to do that multiple times over the next couple days, but then it'll probably be a bit of a gap because I'm going to Boston, and then on Tuesday I'll do it again. So you're going to want to pick a career. What are you going to do with that career? You're going to do the following. Where is it? Go back, go back. How do I go back? There it is. Okay, almost done. So under careers, you have, so on this section, we have the selection survey. Once you've selected it and it's been approved, maybe I'll email you one way or the other. So if you were the first one to choose psychometrician, then I'll say, good job, you're a psychometrician. Well, no, you're going to research that. Then you will research that, and the career paper is here. So you're going to research it. This isn't due until November 17th. November 17th is a Sunday, 11:59. I picked the day, and it just happened to be a Sunday. I could move that to the 18th, I suppose. Yeah, probably I should. So I'll change it right now so that I cannot forget to do that. Yeah, I was thinking this was a Monday, Wednesday class for some reason. Let me just change it to, here we go. Change it to the 18th. 18, that's better. And I'm going to have to change the other one as well. So submit and return to course. So you have the career paper. What is the career paper? I'll change this as well, don't worry. So the career paper is as follows. You're going to write a short paper, 2 to 3 pages. I'd say probably it'll be barely 2. You get to 2 and you're like, oh, I'm done. And you're going to also do a 5-minute presentation about your career. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But in your paper, you want to describe, like, what is this career? What do people do? Like, what is a psychometrician? What are the daily tasks? Like, what kind of life would you be leading if you were a psychometrician? What kind of education? Basically, you're using that website I pointed you to. That's going to be a huge help because it has many of these things. What kind of testing is required? Do you have salary data? And don't just rely on the weuseMath.org. Go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There are other places that you can find salary data. What's the size of the workforce? What is the projected need? And give me some examples of employers who might hire mathematicians for this career. And it would be great if those examples were kind of different from one another. So you might say psychometrician is going to be, the ETS, the Educational Testing Center, has psychometricians because they have testing that they want to be able to help do statistics for, and then you might have another group that hires psychometricians. And then a brief historical description of the career, like when did it start? Have psychometricians been around forever, or is this something that just popped up in the past 20 years? That sort of a thing. So, write a couple of pages, probably not more, well, it's not going to be more than 3, but you're going to get to 2, and then you're going to be like, I'm done. It's going to be a stretch maybe to get it to 2. Some of you probably write more than others. So you're going to crank this into here and then be done with it. As far as the career presentation goes, I have a spot for it here only so that you can stick some sort of a PowerPoint, because there will be a day, and let's see, what is this? I think I put this on the day. Yeah, this is dumb. I'm going to change this. I've got it due on the, that's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, I think. So I'll move it to the Monday after Thanksgiving. So that week, the week between Thanksgiving and finals, one of those 2 days we'll do presentations, maybe both of them, because there are 10 of you. Because when I say 5 minutes, it's never 5. It's 5 plus, because there's time to switch. So probably both of those days we'll have presentations on careers. And so everyone gets to do a short presentation, 5 minutes. If it bleeds up to 6 or 7, I'm not going to complain too much, but I don't want it to be 15. And you're basically just going to share the important stuff. And don't make your PowerPoint with lots of words. Just have the important stuff, the cool things, the interesting things. So you do want to share like the basics, description, but not lots of words. You'll just sort of describe it yourself because you've already done the research, and you might have some pictures or some words that describe the basics. Minimum time, minimum education, and so on. You'll want to include all of this stuff in your presentation, and I'm sure you'll have some really cool transitions between the slides as well. What do you think, Zane?
Are we required to have a PowerPoint? Can we just like make notes based on our paper? For 5 minutes on it?
No, let's have a PowerPoint. Okay. Yeah, so let's say it won't take you long. Come on, you're not that hard to make a PowerPoint. Yeah. Oh, I see. It's just, yeah, and it doesn't have to have those cool transitions, but you can ask whoever it was who did those if you need to make the cool transition. Yeah, you could just make it boring, black and white. I don't care. I'm not grading on how cool it looks. So you can just take your information and dump it in there, just summarize, just so we can say, hey, salary. Ooh, that might be something I'm interested in. Or maybe you're like, salary, really? That low? Okay. The thing that's really sad for me is every year I do this and I think, wow, I should choose a different career. Since the salary is pretty low here. But anyway, so there is that. Let me go back and make sure I've got everything. So we've got the career presentation. Oh, I was going to fix this, wasn't I? Let me fix it now before I forget. Casey Cougar. I got to ask Dr. Hewlett if it's me that made that happen. Okay, change this to the 2nd. Now it's Monday. That makes so much more sense. So Monday at midnight or 11:59, I think it's. So let's just crank this out of here, save and return. Whew. Okay, so is that it? I've got MFT. Let me just double check. We've talked about homework for next week, and we've got the MFT, and we've got the thing. So do you have any questions, concerns? You know what's going on? What do you think? What do you think, Roston?
Is there a final for this class?
There is not a final. I mean, I could make one for fun if you want. No, it's fine. Okay. We do need to have a second test, though. So we will have a second test at some point, probably after we finish all of this apportionment nonsense. No, it's not. It's good stuff. So at some point, I'll figure out which day, one of these days coming up. So I guess we've already used up. Let me get this back up here just a sec. So we've already used up those 2 days. The 2 days after Thanksgiving, we can't have a test. So sometime between November 5th and Thanksgiving, we'll have our second test. Anything else? Other worries? Wow, that wasn't too bad. All right, well, I hope you have a great break. If I don't see you tomorrow, if I do see you tomorrow, I hope you do well on your test. I'm going to stop the recording in case you want to come and chat.